Small batch? Single barrel? Bottled in bond? I just need to bring a bottle of bourbon home for Thanksgiving. And I didn't know it could be so confusing.
Wondering how there can be so many different types of bourbon, but they all seem to come from the same place? Allow us to take you on a journey called Bourbon, America's Spirit. Bourbon can only be made in the good old US of A. And over 90% of this brown nectar is produced in Kentucky, in an area between Louisville and Lexington. And many of the Scots-Irish and German immigrants that moved to the area had experienced distilling. Whiskey made from corn traded more than just plain old corn, and by the late 1700s, the Samuels family of Maker's Mark fame, Jacob Bean, and the Brown family who created Old Forester bourbon were all getting involved in the whiskey trade. We can thank these families and a host of others for this unique corn-based whiskey aged in charred oak barrels that we now call bourbon. Vodka, gin, and scotch took the place of bourbon in post-World War II America. But the last 15 years has seen an explosive growth and interest in Kentucky bourbon, and that is mostly driven by people looking for quality whiskey. To prevent fraud, because people were getting garbage whiskey, and they made sure every bottle was at least 4 years old. It was...
Well, hello there. You know, Nate can drop knowledge bombs about bourbon for hours. But why take it from him? Let's talk to our good friend Eddie from Kentucky, and a little place called Wild Turkey.
And then a little bit for me.
Pork chop style.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
A couple questions.
Okay.
How long have the Russell family been in Kentucky?
So, as far back as I can remember, I mean, my great-grandfather actually worked at a distillery there in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky called Old Joe Distillery before Prohibition, which is now the Four Roses Distillery. My dad and granddad has worked at my distillery. My dad's been there for 63 years. So the Russell,
1954.
yeah, that's when he started, September the 10th, 1954. He doesn't make it in every day, but he still comes in quite a few days a week. He's got to come and pick on me a little bit, I guess.
His job could almost collect Social Security at this point.
Oh yeah, his job could.
You know, over 30 years ago when you started at this distillery, did you ever think that bourbon would be as popular as it is now?
The answer is definitely no. I mean, in my little area of Kentucky, when my father started in 1954, there was 57 distilleries in Kentucky. When I started in 1981, there was 8. And our industry wasn't doing so well. But it was a good place to work. It was union, you made good money. It was a very family type atmosphere because all the distilleries were started by families and they stayed that way. But I never thought we would get to where we are today because our industry marketed the same way to the same people. Everything was done the same by all of us. We marketed mainly to Southern gentlemen and older gentlemen. We didn't even think about whether women like bourbon. We didn't think about on-premise where they're making drinks. You're seeing fathers and sons. You see daughters bringing dads into our distillery to show them what bourbon's about. So it's just such a great thing to see. I mean, our industry's always
Crazy great, but man, who knows what's going in that barrel. Then in 1897...
Nate, man. When you're picking out a bourbon for the holidays, there is no wrong answer, baby boy.
Nice. Thanks, Raverhood.
There he goes.
Do you think he's happy?
I do, Nate.
Me too.
I do.
Me too. He looks pretty happy.
I miss him
there.
already.
Yeah. I mean,